Miles Rapoport, former Secretary of State of Connecticut and the President of DEMOS.
Thank you, Steve. I served as Secretary of the State in Connecticut in the mid-90s, and I and the other secretaries that I worked with were deeply concerned at the lack of voter participation and the disinterest that many voters, especially young voters, had in actually registering and voting. We have an opportunity this year where we're seeing something extraordinary and I think wonderful, regardless of the outcome of the elections, happen, and that is people, and by the hundreds of thousands and millions, are anxious and eager to register and vote and be part of it, which makes it discouraging to me when I see the attacks on an organization like ACORN. I think ACORN has done a tremendous job of registering 1.3 million voters, has added to the leavening of our democracy thereby, and has dealt forthrightly with the difficulties that are absolutely going to take place whenever you have a large-scale organizational process with thousands and thousands of employees around the country. But I think by raising the issue of ACORN and its voter registration and the issue of voter fraud in general, a serious disregard, a disservice is what I mean. I'm sorry, a serious disservice is being done to the election process itself. We do have, as election officials, as people concerned about the election process, real issues that need to be dealt with this year, and this diverts attention from those challenges. The election officials all around the country, whether Secretary of the States or county officials, need to be ready for massive turnouts and have enough voting machines and trained poll workers and accurate voting lists. They need to do real voter education so that people know where they need to go to vote so they don't try to vote at the wrong precinct. They need to tell them what kinds of voter identification they will need, especially first-time voters who are required by the Help America Vote Act to do that. So the election officials need to be ready, and they need not to create policies that discourage people from voting. And by raising questions about the voter registration process and launching this attack on the work of voter registration groups, especially ACORN, I think that that kind of discouragement can creep into the system. We have real opportunities and real challenges, not just in this election, but going forward. I agree with what Bob Edgar said. We need to make our election process one that invites people into the process through universal voter registration, registration on Election Day, expanding opportunities for people to cast votes, getting voter education into the schools and civic education. There are all kinds of things. Fully implement the National Voter Registration Act, fully implement all of the things that encourage people to vote and don't discourage them. So I think that what I'm here to say today is that I do think that this criticism of ACORN is a diversionary issue that should not be allowed to cloud what's happening this year, which is an extraordinary flowering of democracy. ACORN is to be applauded for encouraging that, not criticized, and I'm proud to stand with them.
Thanks very much, Miles, Bob. We'll take questions in